Hi, everyone. This is Coach Stephanie Wood, and I'm with my favorite colleague, Shelley Goldstein. And we're here on my podcast, Tap Into Your Body Confidence, where entrepreneurs unite to showcase their talents. And before we get into our topic, Shelley, please tell people about just one of your projects and how they can connect with you.
Gosh, I do this wonderful thing called I Am Remarkable. It is a workshop that I host through Google's initiative. And it really just is about empowering one's ideas of how we can self-promote, how we can look at our experiences and use that to empower ourselves. It's not bragging, but to empower ourselves. It's very exciting projects, and I do those workshops quite often.
And where can people find you, Shelley?
Best place is LinkedIn, Shelley Goldstein, or you can find me at Remarkable Speaking on YouTube. I have a lot of videos there.
And you spell Shelley's first name Shelley Goldstein,
Yes,
Goldstein. And you can find me at my site. Yes, I'm there from time to time at Bodyawe, BODYAWE, like an awesome. And as Shelley knows, I love coaching women entrepreneurs to integrate better business skills into their business, but most importantly, to elevate and enhance their confidence so that they can go out into the world and just be courageous and brave and enjoy their business. So with that said, Shelley, we were talking early in the week about clothing, how we dress ourselves. And what does that have to do with business and all this other stuff in our lives? You start us off. What's going on about that?
I think it is everything to do with who we are and how we show up in the world. Currently, I do public speaking to help people develop their confidence in their voice, using their voice and empowering their voice. But early on in my career, one of my first careers was a costume designer. And what I realized was designing costumes for the characters was really bringing out their personality. You had that split second to create their whole identity or bring their identity alive through the clothing they picked. So was it comfortable? Was the person like a lawyer? Were they wearing a proper suit? Were they somebody who was maybe a ragamuffin on the side of the road and they needed to have disheveled clothes? It all plays into the character development. And the expression of clothing, I've discovered, is really a way to use that as a tool to bring your character alive.
So when you have someone developing their voice, I talk with my clients about how they feel in their dress, their clothing, because when they feel good, how they express their voice is totally illuminating. Because if they're wearing something tight, ooh, they're going to have a tight voice. But like with you, with the theater, if they had to wear a certain costume, whether it was tight or not, they had to wear it, right?
Yes, without a doubt, but we still wanted to make people comfortable. And what actors do so brilliantly is they really envelop and embrace their character they're portraying. It might be something that's similar to their personal identity, but sometimes they're playing a character like a robber or a thief, somebody that they don't even, they would never experience that. So it is very important to notice how I use character and identity. If it's comfortable, if you feel right, that's really where we go, but it's a personal expression. So when you get to your voice, using your voice to say how you feel, and you brought that up, clothing adds to that. We want to show up in the world as we truly are. there are some protocols, I understand, in court of law. People have to dress a certain way if you're a lawyer, but you still could be comfortable. You still could be wearing a suit that reflects a strong opinion about what you think. I'll tell you a quick fun story. Madeleine Albright, who is one of our first female secretaries of state, she brilliantly had a pin collection. And she would wear these pins. She wrote a book on it. There are museum exhibitions. I think there are some of her pins in the in Washington at the National Gallery, but she would wear pins to reflect her idea or her thought point of view about a meeting, whether she
Not
was
just,
going.
you're getting me excited, Shelley. It's not just clothing, it's accessories or earrings or necklace. Especially as women, I know for me, whatever earrings I'm wearing makes me feel a different way. But I want to grasp onto something that is intriguing to me, is when you bring up character. When you start with someone who's going on the speaking trail, do they make up a new character? Are they allowed to do that? I mean, you say be themselves. Well, a lot of us don't know who we are at the moment.
It's
So
very true.
this character thing intrigues me.
I hope we show up as ourselves.
Yes.
Like wearing a pin that Madeleine Albright feels meant something to her. You wear a suit, you speak to your truth. And you're right, it is very difficult. Who am I? What's my identity? Or we feel the societal norms, especially around the workplace, we have to be a certain way. There's an expectation of who we need to and how we need to show up. The work I do through speaking with confidence and connecting with those personal identities really is coming out through storytelling, through having conversations about things we identify with, how we feel, being open to expressing, I feel this, I like this, I like this, I don't like this. And we want to be truthful. And the more we do that, it's actually very relief. There's a great sense of,
just for our podcast today, I'm thinking, what earrings, what necklace, what do I feel comfortable in? What's going to reflect who I am today?
and every
Do
day.
you do that as well? Do you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I'm just asking.
I have my favorite pieces, but they're very unique to who I am. As in building a brand for my company, it has to speak to me. So people could say when they look at a logo or they look at my images on my website, they go, I understand. I think I know the type of person I'm dealing with. I want to be as truthful and honest as possible to myself so that when somebody is working with me, they know who they're dealing with. And I think we all need to have that open expression because in business, especially, and in personal relationships, we have to build trust. We want to know, back to character, are you trustworthy? Are you kind? What kind of leader are you going to be? Compassionate or hard-handed? And you really could only express that through being yourself.
But as you're being yourself, what I've noticed through my podcast talkings with wonderful people, I'm noticing your background. Now, usually some people have the big banner, my brand, my company. That doesn't tell me. What tells me about you when I'm seeing you in the room that you're in, I would assume it's in your house. It's beautiful. The lighting is gorgeous. It's very comfortable and homey. That tells me more about you than if I saw a banner. Now, that's just a personal thing, but to me, the banner in the background is the same as like being on the stage.
It could be, absolutely. I don't want to discredit that though, because if somebody feels that that's important to their identity
Sure.
And how they show up, I want to honor that as long as it feels right. But you're tapping into something when by looking at my background, you're seeing a lot about me. So how I dress says a lot about me and my words. These are just different tools. As I mentioned, costumes was about clothing. I realized I can bring a whole identity to life through clothing. And then working my way to public speaking, I can also help that identity through words and voice.
Beautiful.
It's just fascinating.
It is fascinating. So before we wrap up, you go first, Shelley. What would be one thing you would want our audience to remember from our conversation?
That every time you get up to speak, whether you're talking to a prospect, a boss, a colleague, a child, a family member, every presentation, every speech is a conversation. And when we engage in conversation, that's the best access to really identifying who you are and who the person is, as opposed to speaking at them. So for me, to the audience, have conversations.
And I would add on to that, listen and plainly enjoy yourself, enjoy what you're wearing, just enjoy yourself. So with that said, how can people connect with you, Shelley, again?
You can find me on YouTube under Remarkable Speaking, or my website, Remarkable Speaking. And I'm on LinkedIn, Shelley Goldstein. That's Shelley Goldstein.
And you can find me at Body Awe, BODYAWE, like an awesome.com. I've got some goodies there at the website. And Shelley, I'll be seeing you again. Yes?
Oh, I hope so. We've just scratched the surface on clothing and identity.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.